I'm going to show everyone you can become successful without degrading yourself, without selling your soul, without compromising your morals, by believing in yourself and working hard, but most importantly, through God. God already met you halfway. Nothing is impossible when you're walking with God. God made the path for you already. Now you got to walk towards Him and take those steps. Hi, my name is Kirsten. I'm 22 years old and I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm Haitian and I speak English, French, Creole, and Spanish. This is my podcast called Cope Talks. My goal is to give hope and ways to cope with mental health issues. My ultimate goal is to reach 1 million people and beyond and to make them feel happy. I've been working on my podcast for 5 years. One day I was leaving work to go on break to get lunch and I was walking with my girlfriend at the time to go to Starbucks. I asked myself, what makes me happy? And I said, I like making money, but that doesn't always make me happy because there's times I had lots of money and I was still sad. My girlfriend asked me, what truly makes you happy? I thought to myself, I love making people smile and making them feel happy. During that time, I went through a lot of turmoil with my mental health. So I came up with the idea to incorporate those two things together, mental health and making people happy. I came up with the name Cope Talks with a K because we all need to cope with things in life, especially mental health. I wanted an original name, so I replaced the C in Cope with a K. And it also represents the first letter in my name, which for me meant I needed to cope. And it starts with me, and that's how I came up with Cope Talks. It took me 5 years to release this podcast because I'm very meticulous with my work and I procrastinate a lot. I was very nervous to start my podcast because I thought I was scared of what people would think, but in reality, I was never scared of that because I don't care how people would view me. I was scared of my success, knowing this would work out for me and this would be a big commitment because I was destined for this, which led me to procrastinate a lot so I wouldn't start. What really pushed me is knowing not every day is promised, but ultimately, it was knowing a lot of people are suffering and I need a help. Spreading my light is my purpose now, and I'm walking in my divine destiny. I'm not perfect, I'm human, so I'll make mistakes in life. It's about being accountable and owning up so you can change your ways and to live a better life. Every day is another chance to do it right this time. It's important to discuss mental health openly and destigmatize it because we all go through some type of mental health issues in our lifetime or know someone that is going through it. And I believe we need to show up for each other, but especially for ourselves. And we need to change the way mental health is viewed. We need to stop putting labels on people that are experiencing mental health issues. For example, calling people names or thinking they can never change or be positive. This type of outlook will not create a positive mindset to approach and change the stigma around mental health. It would just make things worse because no one asked for this. So the least we can do is to have grace for each other and to love and support one another no matter how hard it is. We can make the change if we believe and put the work behind it. The first vivid memory of experiencing a mental health issue was when I was living in Montreal. I was in middle school and I remember this like it was yesterday. On one cold December day before winter break, my teacher had a question for another teacher and told me to go to her classroom and relay the question to the teacher and to get her response. I remember leaving my classroom thinking, let's make this quick because I don't even want to leave the classroom at first. I was already having fun in my classroom. I was I was rehearsing what I was going to say to the teacher as I'm walking in the hallway. I proceed to enter the classroom. As I start talking to the teacher, I can see the whole classroom is staring at me. My first immediate thought was, why is everyone looking at me? As I'm talking to the teacher, my face started to tremble, and it wouldn't stop. It continued for over 2 minutes. All I can remember was everyone laughing at me, every student in the room, and even the teacher was laughing at me with a smile on her face. She asked me if everything was okay. I ended up leaving her classroom, not caring about relaying the message to my teacher. I felt alienated, like I wasn't normal. This occurrence never happened to me before, so I didn't know how to react. I felt ambivalent and dead inside. I went back to my classroom frustrated, and all I can remember was my brain racing with thoughts. I asked myself, how did this happen? After a while, I laughed. I laughed it out because I wasn't going to let people's reactions or opinion weigh me down and ruin my day. Later on that day, the students from the other homeroom were talking about it still. Some had forgot and some didn't care anymore. The teacher that laughed at me came to talk to me and apologize for her actions. By the end of the day, no one was talking about it anymore. Earlier in the day, I asked myself, is this anxiety? But I wasn't sure. It felt confusing. It made me more anxious because I didn't know what anxiety was during that time. And I couldn't explain what happened that day besides my face was twitching. And the only person that I mentioned that to was my mom. And at the time, she didn't know what was going on for that to occur. I sat with those emotions and experiences as I replayed the whole day in my head again, analyzing every moment and second. As I'm replaying the sequences in my head, I paused to when I was in the hallway. I recall practicing what I was going to say. During that moment, I didn't think nothing of it. But as I dissect what happened during that day, I pondered, why did I practice what I was going to say if I already knew what my teacher told me to say? As I dived deeper, I recognized I was nervous because I didn't want to mess up. I was overthinking the situation by trying to have everything perfected. I believe it stems from childhood. We're taught that we can't make a mistake, and if we do, there's always ramifications, which only leads us to live a life that feels like we're constantly being tested. We all know the feeling leading up before taking the test. Oftentimes, we feel nervous, overwhelmed, stressed, and doubtful. These feelings only lead to heightened anxiety and decreased confidence. The lesson I learned was no one is flawless and everything is not always going to go the way you would want it. However, it's not the end of the world. Utilize every moment as a valuable experience to grow. No matter how little or big it is, it happened for a reason. Upon coming to this realization that life is like a play, you can either stick to the script or you can improvise. Another lesson I learned is the importance of self care and stress management. By recognizing these emotions as warning signs, you can develop coping strategies such as deep breathing exercises, mindfulness practices, time management skills, and seeking support from others. Additionally, it's essential to challenge negative thoughts and build resilience by focusing on your strengths and past success, thus fostering a sense of confidence and empowerment. Some common mental health disorders are anxiety disorders, generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, phobias, obsessive compulsive disorder. There's also mood disorders, major depressive disorder, bipolar disorder, and there's also eating disorders, anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, binge eating disorder. And there's also psychotic disorders, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder. There's also trauma related disorders, post traumatic stress disorder, acute stress disorder, and there's also substance use disorders, addiction to alcohol, drugs, or other substances. Some common coping mechanisms is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is widely used therapy that helps individuals identify and challenge negative thought patterns. Mindfulness and meditation. You can use mindfulness and meditation practices that promote awareness of the present moment, reducing stress and anxiety. There's also relaxation techniques, deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, and guided imagery can help calm the mind and body. There's also social support as well. Connecting with friends, family, or support groups can provide comfort and encouragement. You can also do physical activity. Regular exercise releases endorphins and reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety. You can also create a healthy lifestyle for yourself. Eating a balanced diet, getting enough sleep, and avoiding drugs and alcohol can support overall mental health. Some strategies for self care is prioritizing your self care, making time for activities you enjoy, and schedule regular breaks to rest and recharge. You can also set boundaries. Learn to say no to excessive demands and prioritize your needs. Practice gratitude by cultivating a mindset of gratitude by focusing on positive aspects of your life. Seek professional help as well too. Don't hesitate to reach out to a therapist or a counselor if you're struggling with your mental health. Monitor your mental health, keep track of your emotions, triggers, and coping strategies to better understand your mental health needs. You can also use technology by using mental health apps, online support groups, or virtual therapy platforms for additional support and resources. You can also limit the use of social media. Some practical tips and resources is you can also utilize the National Alliance of Mental Illness, or short for NAMI, provides information and support resources for individuals and families affected by mental illnesses, and Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or short for SAMHSA, offers treatment, referrals, educational materials, and crisis support services as well. Crisis Text Line, a free confident text messaging service for individuals in crisis available 24/7. Mental Health America, or short for MHA, provides screening tools, educational resources, and advocacy for mental health awareness and support. Here are three pre-selected questions for the listeners as a Q&A segment. How can I manage overwhelming anxiety on a daily basis? You can manage overwhelming anxiety on a daily basis by taking everything day by day and coming up with a routine that establishes a calm approach to your daily tasks. Also, by going to therapy and finding ways to be mindful. Another question was, what are some effective ways to cope with depression when it feels like nothing helps? Some effective ways to cope with depression when it feels like nothing helps is seeking professional help and potentially talking to a psychiatrist about medication. You can also engage in activities, connect with supportive people, limit stress, set realistic goals, challenge negative thoughts, practice self-care, and go into the gym. The third and last question was, how do I navigate conversations about mental health with friends and family who don't understand or are unsupportive? You can navigate conversations about mental health with friends and family who don't understand or who are unsupportive by choosing the right time and place to initiate a conversation about your mental health and to be clear about your needs. Also, by educating them on your condition and practicing self care. You want to make sure you're setting boundaries as well and genuinely expressing yourself. You could seek support elsewhere if certain individuals are unable or unwilling to provide the support you need. Focus on positive relationships, surround yourself with supportive friends and family who validate your experiences and offer empathy and encouragement. Be patient and persistent. Challenging people's attitudes and beliefs about mental health takes time, so be patient and persistent in your efforts to educate them and advocate for yourself. Know when to walk away. If conversations about mental health constantly lead to conflict or distress, it may be the best to limit contact with unsupported individuals or seek professional guidance on how to navigate these relationships. As we take our first step together towards a better approach to mental health, we're one step closer at destigmatizing mental health and living a better quality of life. At this moment, I want to take 3 deep breaths and exhale, representing our journey from beginning, middle, and end. We all go through challenging times, but everything gets better. Trust and believe that. We all have a purpose in life and a light that is in us that shines. We're all stars, and not the ones in Hollywood, but the ones in the dark sky that illuminate and glow within a simple flow. I encourage everyone to prioritize their mental health and seek help if needed. It's really important to make a positive change in your life for an improved standard of living. For anyone struggling with mental health issues, you're not alone. We have each other, our family, friends, and this community I'm cultivating to change the way we view mental health. I want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart and every atom in my body for taking the time to tune in to the first episode of my podcast. I encourage everyone to subscribe, follow, leave reviews, and share the podcast. Tune in for the next episode, diving deeper into different types of anxiety disorders and ways it impacts our daily life.